from animal life due to its heavy responsibilities. Those who are cognizant of these responsibilities, asuras, godly persons, and those who are neglectful of these responsibilities or who have no information of them are called asuras, demons. Throughout the universe, there are only these types of human being. In the Rig Veda, it is stated that the asuras always aim at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Vishnu and act accordingly. Their ways are as illuminated as the path of the sun. So we will read bit by bit or part by part of the purport, and I will comment. So human life is a life of responsibility, and because human beings have this intelligence, more developed intelligence than animals, then our responsibility is greater. Our responsibility is greater. So now, in order to fulfill certain responsibility, one first has to know what is his responsibility. For example, if you have a service and you don't know what you are supposed to do, then you cannot fulfill your responsibility properly. So like in ISKCON London, when we worked with Mahaduti Maharaj, we had service description for every devotee. For every devotee we had a service description. This clarity was helping devotees to actually perform their service better, and it was clarifying expectations. So here it is said that those who understand which are those responsibilities in human form of life, and those who act accordingly are called suras or demigods. Suras or godly personalities who follow God's instructions more or less, or who behave in line with the Vedic instructions. And opposite of them are asuras, who do not follow. They are not regulated. They are not regulated. Srila Prabhupada says there is regulated and unregulated, and we are supposed to be regulated. We are trying to be regulated as we can. And then unregulated as those who have bad habits. People who have bad habits. People who have sinful habits. Now when I first read that there is only two types of people on the planet, I thought, wow, this is too black and white, isn't it? It sounds like it's too black and white. And now we can ask, so what are we? Are we demons or devotees? And our conclusion is we are neither of the two. Okay, we are trying to be devotees, we are trying to act as devotees, but sometimes we feel like a demon because we are overwhelmed by material desires. Sometimes these material desires are even sinful desires. So sometimes you feel like a demon. Now, demigods also, they are God conscious, but they also have material desires, and they enjoy for a long time, but then they have to come back to the earth, to the planet Earth. And planet Earth is in the middle planetary system. There is upper, middle, and lower planetary system. In the lower planetary system is too hard, is too much suffering, and therefore it is difficult for self-realization. In the upper planetary system is too nice, is too pleasant, and therefore it's hard for self-realization. And middle planetary system, where it's not too hellish or not too heavenly, is ideal for self-realization, and therefore, then those demigods who sincerely want to complete their journey in the material world and their self-realization, they won't like to come to earth. And sometimes these demigods are born in ISKCON or around ISKCON. And sometimes we see devotees who are really special, but this specialty lasts for some time. They're really special, they're really bright, but then they are hit again with the material energy and they still have to surrender. So they may have been demigods in their previous life, but now they are in the human body. They are in the human body and they have to again make advancement and surrender. So suras and asuras, and now I would say we are trying to be suras with still having traces or having actually demoniac inclinations. And in the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, there is description of the divine and the demoniac nature. And by these qualities, we can see where we are, how much we have of the divine qualities. They are described in the verses 1 to 3, and in many other verses there is a description of the demoniac mentality. And now, what is happening today is actually due to demoniac activities and demoniac civilization. And this virus, whether it's real or false, the whole propaganda is actually caused by demonic activities which are meant to destroy the world and to destroy people. And those people who are so-called elite, if they're manipulating the whole thing, they have no idea what kind of reactions they will get for this. If they're manipulating the whole world because of money, because of economic interests, because of their own sense gratification, because of their own enjoyment, they have no idea how dangerous it is and how many reactions they will get for this. And this kind of manipulation is extremely demoniac. Some say conspiracy theories are not true, some say they're true. Oh, but you can better put it there, it will be safer in this corner, because here it may be full if some of you gets too ecstatic during the class. Or if we raise our hands and say Hare Krishna and then guitar falls down. So demoniac personalities, they neglect the responsibilities of the human form of life.
Can you repeat this again, please?
Demoniac personalities, they neglect the responsibilities of the human form of life. Now, it says that suras, they always aim, or they have for their goal the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. And they say that it is said that their path is illuminated as if illuminated with the sun. But actually our path is illuminated by knowledge, by transcendental knowledge. And one who neglects transcendental knowledge is actually killing his soul, is a killer of the soul. He is killing his soul with ignorance. Okay, so do you have any questions about this section? I gave a short comment, so if you have any questions about this section, you can ask now. Then we can continue with the rest of the purport. With the rest of the purport, yes.
So I would like you to understand what you mean, what you think when you talk about the responsibility.
responsibility of the human form of life. Excellent question. Excellent question. The first responsibility of the human form of life is self-realization, because human form of life is meant for self-realization. People think the first responsibility is to survive. Then the next responsibility is to take care of your family if you have family, or your community or your nation, if you have it, or if you feel identified with this. Then our responsibility is actually to follow Vedic injunctions, to follow the instructions of the scriptures. And if people are in another religion, their responsibility is to follow the instructions of their scriptures also. And the instructions are similar in different traditions. Some are more strict, some are less strict. So what's the difference between the Vedas and the other doctrines? Srila Prabhupada says is if you have a pocket dictionary and the encyclopedic dictionary. So this is the comparison of how much knowledge is available in the Vedas and in other traditions. Now also I heard something that in other traditions, there is they discover some more scriptures, some scriptures by some saints, and discover maybe a different translation of the Bible, or maybe some original translation, or original, not translation, but original Hebrew on the Bible. So sometimes they say that they have more knowledge, but because of manipulation and the politics, they keep it hidden. They keep it in some, like hidden libraries or some cellars or basements. I heard that they found in one monastery in the basement amazing books from their own tradition which speak about reincarnation, which speak more about God, but they don't give it to people. They don't give it to people. So, we appreciate if they have more knowledge. But Srila Prabhupada has given us such a resource, so many books, so much knowledge. And you can see, when I have seen Srila Prabhupada's purports, I have seen how much he quotes other scriptures. I knew about Upanishads before. He is quoting from the Upanishads. Then I saw there is different types of scriptures like Itihasas, Puranas, Samhitas, different other kind, and then Vedic scriptures. I mean, there is a description what is Vedic scriptures. There are different types of scriptures for different types of people. Okay, this is another lecture. Sorry. Intelligent human beings must always remember that the soul obtains a human form after an evolution of many millions of years in the cycle of transmigration. The material world is sometimes compared to an ocean, and the human body is compared to a solid boat, especially to cross this ocean. The Vedic scriptures and the acharyas, or saintly teachers, are compared to expert boatmen, and the facilities of the human body are compared to favorable breezes that help the boat ply smoothly to its desired destination. If, with all these facilities, a human being does not fully utilize his life for self-realization, he must be considered Atmaha, a killer of the soul. Sri Ishopanishad warns in clear terms that the killer of the soul is destined to enter into the darkest region of ignorance to suffer perpetually. This is the second paragraph. So what the human being must always remember, or intelligent human being, what the intelligent human being must always remember is that human form of life is Manushya Durlabha Janma, is actually very rare. And you get it after transmigrating to 8,400,000 species of life. It's a long time in the material world with two different bodies. And now, when you come to the human form,
you need the light?
You need this light.
Okay.
Can you close the window, please?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't need this light. So human body is attained after evolution, and as I said, it's better than the demigod body, and it's better than the body in the lower planets, because on these middle planetary systems, you can actually, it's the best place to practice self-realization. It's not too heavy, it's not too easy. Sometimes it's heavier, like now. This is called a cycle of transmigration. And now, this material is compared to an ocean sometimes, and then we are like passengers on the boat or on the ship. The human body is actually compared as a solid boat designed especially to cross this ocean. So human body is so auspicious. Although we have so many pains and problems, but actually it's auspicious for self-realization. We have something that we can understand. So one can cross this ocean by using the human body very properly. And who are the expert boatmen? Expert boatman is a spiritual master, acharyas, devotees, teachers, saintly teachers. And facilities of the human body are compared to favorable breezes that help the boat ply smoothly or float smoothly to its destination. So what are the facilities of a human body? Is we have intelligence, we can hear, we have ears, we can chant with our tongue.
We have consciousness.
We have consciousness, exactly. Developed consciousness. Everybody has consciousness, but they don't have such a developed consciousness. And animals, unless they have been devotees in previous lives, they are not interested in religion. They are not interested in spirituality, they are not interested in spiritual life. They are interested in aharabhaya nidra maitunacha. Eating, sleeping. So now, what is the greatest regret? Sometimes people say, "Oh, don't act in such a way that at the moment of death you will regret your life. You will regret, oh, I haven't done what I wanted to do." But the greatest regret is described here. If one does not utilize this human form of life for self-realization, he is considered to be the killer of his own soul. It's so serious. People regret that they didn't make more money, they didn't leave more money for their family. People regret that they didn't enjoy enough, they didn't visit all the places in the world they wanted to visit. Have like a partner that they wanted, or partners. They didn't meet a prince or princess of his life. So they regret all these things. But what should be regretted is described here in this purport of the Upanishad, and it's so severe that it's described as Atmaha. Atmaha means killer of the soul. So virus can kill your body, or the bullet can heal your body, but avidya or ignorance, the poison of avidya, can kill your soul and can cover it over. There are two functions. There are two functions of the material energy, and it's called avaranatmika shakti and prakshepatmika shakti. So avaranatmika shakti means it covers you over, so you become ignorant, and then drags you down, degrades you into lower species or into lower human species, and or even if in this body one can become degraded. So first it covers you over and it drags you down, and when it covers you at the beginning, oh, I'm taking shelter of Maya, it's cozy, it's warm, it's soft, and but then it drags you down. So therefore, one who does not utilize human form for self-realization is called the killer of the soul, Atmaha. So this is worse than killer of the body. This is worse than killer of the body. And it says here to suffer perpetually. So usually perpetually doesn't mean forever. We don't preach hell forever. But some living entities are so stubborn that they don't want to go back to remain in the material world. In a sense, some may stay very long in the material world, but when they get tired of trying to imitate God or in trying to enjoy the material world, they start to inquire. Jigyasa, adhato, brahma jigyasa, inquire about the absolute truth. So in Vedanta Sutra, this aphorism is there, adhato, brahma jigyasa. Now that we are in the human form of life, is the time to inquire about the absolute truth. Okay, do we have any questions about this section?
Yes, I would like to know what they exactly mean by killing the soul, because usually it's said that the soul can't be killed or destroyed.
Excellent. Uh-huh. Yes? You wanted to say something?
Yeah. So maybe we may try.
I want to answer the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, is that possible?
Yes.
Okay. So I have read for a couple
Oh,
of years.
please take the book. Don't put on the seat.
So as a Christian, as on a religion, there are some things that sins that certainly called a death sin, and they and so the first is Hochmut. So what is the name in English? Hochmut.
Being high-nosed.
High nose. Pride. And proud. So they say that to be proud is the highest form, the sin, and because this will give the ground to another death sins, and when people and in Wiccan when people develop this death sin, they become like the animals. They you don't want, so to get the self-realization or to get the knowledge or something like that. They just want to defend and sleep. So this is the information that's from human being. You will be downgraded just to just to the enemy planet.
From my understanding, the killing of the soul means actually neglecting the soul, neglecting the quality of the soul, that it can be eternal, knowledge and full of bliss. And say you are killing the consciousness or degrading the consciousness of the soul. But I will, this is a long purport, so I want to utilize the rest of the time, 25 more minutes, to read the whole purport, because I don't want to miss just by my comments. Want to read till the end the purport, and then I can say something. But maybe the answer we will find by the end of the purport, so we will see. Maybe there is some indication. There are swine, dogs, camels, asses, etc., whose economic necessities are just as important to them as ours are to us. You can read. You can read. You understand better? You can find this paragraph where it says there are swine or pigs, dogs, camels, asses. You found it?
Yes.
Okay. Just as important to them as ours are to us. So animals' economic necessities is important to them. But the economic problems of these animals are solved only under nasty and unpleasant conditions. The human being is given all facilities for a comfortable life by the laws of nature. The human form of life is more important and valuable than life. Why is man given a better life than that of the swine and other animals? Why is a high-placed government servant given better facilities than those of an ordinary clerk? The answer is that a highly placed officer has to discharge duties of a higher nature. Similarly, the duties of human beings have to perform are higher than those of animals, who are always engaged in simply feeding their hungry stomachs. Modern soul-killing civilization has only increased the problems of the hungry stomach. When we approach a polished animal in the form of modern civilized man and take interest in self-realization, he will say that he simply wants to work to satisfy his stomach and that there is no need of self-realization for The laws of nature are so cruel, however, that despite his denunciation of the need for self-realization and his eagerness to work hard to fill his stomach, he is always threatened by unemployment. Like now, people are getting, how you say, they are getting fired. They're getting fired. We are given this human form of life not to work hard like asses, swine, but to attain the highest perfection of life. Therefore, civilization forces us to work very hard, even though we know so. Human beings in this age have been forced to work hard like the asses and bullocks that pull carts. Regions where the asuras are sent to work are revealed in this mantra of Sri Ishopanishad. If a man fails to discharge his duties as a human being, he is forced to transmigrate to the Asurya planets and take birth in degraded life to work hard in ignorance and darkness. So if one is engaged in demoniac and materialistic activities, he goes first to the lower to actually suffer, and then he gets animal body and comes back to planet Earth. So this is also suffering to have animal body. In 6:41 to 43, it is stated that a man who enters upon the path of realization but does not complete the process, despite having sincerely tried to realize his relationship with God, is given a chance to appear in a family of Shuchi or Shrimat. The word Shuchi indicates a spiritually advanced Brahmana, and Shrimat indicates a Vaishya, a member of the mercantile community. So the person who fails to achieve self-realization is given a better chance in his next life due to his sincere efforts in this life. So everything you do goes to your spiritual bank account. You have sincere efforts in this life, next life you get a better chance. If even a fallen candidate is given a chance to take birth in a respectable and noble family, one can hardly imagine the status of one who has achieved success. By simply attempting to realize God, one is guaranteed birth in a wealthy or aristocratic family. But those who do not even make an attempt, who want to be covered by illusion, who are too materialistic and too attached to material enjoyment, must enter into the darkest regions of hell, as confirmed by the Vedic literature. Such materialistic asuras sometimes make a show of religion, but their ultimate aim is material prosperity. Now we have this today very much prominent. This people make show of religion, they speak about principles, or they speak about principles of goodness. They also pray to God sometimes, but they are not sure who God is and why is God allowing things to happen. They make a show of religion. In other words, they make a show of religion. And then people are attracted to them, they pose as gurus. And how you can recognize a bogus guru? What do you think?
He don't tell about Supreme Personal of Godhead. He always try to say about something himself, manipulate the people, getting money, enjoy. That is honest.
Okay. Yes.
He will promise you a big result by doing nothing.
But he's talking something for you. He's talking. He's telling you what to do. He's telling you how to understand things. He may be very smart. He may give you even good advice, materially speaking. But as Prabhuji said, they don't speak about God and service to God. They are smart, but they are not a spiritual guru. They may be business guru or a lifestyle guru or something, lifestyle coach. So they don't tell you to serve God. They tell you how you can be happy and how you can get what you want. How to get from where you are to where you want to be. How to be happy despite all the nonsense in the world. So Srila Prabhupada exposed bogus gurus very strongly in his books, and those who misguide people by posing as spiritual personalities are even worse than groceries. They are worse than groceries. The Bhagavad Gita 16:17 to 18 rebukes such men by calling them Atma Sambhavita, meaning that they are considered great only in the strength of deception and are empowered by the votes of the ignorant and by their own material wealth. Such asuras, devoid of self-realization and knowledge of Ishavasya, the Lord's universal proprietorship, are certain to enter into the darkest regions. So I did a huge free seminar in London, in Alexandra Palace. It's away from the center, maybe half an hour, with public transport. And there was a free seminar by a guy, and there was 4,000 people. And in these free seminars, they give you some knowledge, but they also register people for paid seminars. And out of 4,000, I mean, if 200 register or 400 register, it's a big income. I mean, you can get a lot of money from these people. So you teach them something, promise them that they can learn more. And then the way he began the seminar, how many of you want more money? Yeah! How many of you want more sex? Yeah! He said then, oh, maybe I can teach you more money, but not how to get more sex. And they said, oh. So these people know what people want, and they offer it, and people worship them. Wow, he's teaching me how to get more money and more sex. Wow, he is my God. He's my guru. He's my teacher. He's a worshipable deity. But at that seminar, what happened? I will tell you little anecdotes. Some anecdote. There was actually Hare Krishna devotees were at that seminar. Maybe 10. I was with one devotee. We went. And so I first tell you about the seminar. So seminar was good, and you could learn some good tools about success. But at the end, when there was the finale, or the pinnacle of the whole program, so whole program he was not saying any nonsense. It was more or less common sense. How to do this and that, use your intelligence. But at the end, the last meditation, we have all closed our eyes. I went to the toilet. And you are great, and you are the universe. Something like that, And I said, oh, he spoiled everything he says done in this seminar. Okay, that was at the end. But what happened, I don't know, after every section, they have some short entertainment, 5 minutes, like pumping, strong music, doom, 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 and they're jumping, and sometimes they have some games with some big balls. They throw the balls at the stage. All in the mode of passion, to pump up people, to make them feel good, and adrenaline and things like that. But then they had one game, I forgot.
So there is no electricity.
Krishna doesn't allow me to glorify bogus gurus. But I'm not going to glorify somebody else. Krishna, please give us electricity. Be careful, there is my phone there.
It's like, okay, and you
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. No?
Took out the plug from you.
So one game, then when the person,
the whole time not plugged in.
you see, they invite the person from the audience. They invite the person from the audience to come to the stage and then participate in a game. And one Indian girl came to the stage, and this facility trainer, he asked her, "What is your name?" And she says, "Chaitanya." And 4,000 people heard the name Chaitanya. But he didn't hear well. He says, "What?" She says, "Chaitanya." Then the third time he said, "Oh, thank you." Then the
Yeah, when you want to Chaitanya, it's working.
oh yeah, magic. So, and just put this here. Then he wanted to control the sound, but I also stand on the side, and the main guy was passing by. He also went from the stage, went back where the equipment is. It's like a huge hall. Alexandra Palace is not a sports hall, but it's huge, like a sports hall, maybe bigger. So many seats are there, like 4,000 people. And I say, "Hello, sir, do you know if there is any Hare Krishna here?" He said, "Oh, I don't know. Oh, are you a Hare Krishna?" I was not in Dhoti, I was not with Tilak. And I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, I don't know." And then I said, this was before he said that we are the universe. And I said, "Oh, thank you for what you are teaching us. It's useful, it's practical." He said, "Yeah, my pleasure." We exchanged few words, but he said Hare Krishna 2 times. So, to go back to the beginning of the seminar, he asked people, "How many of you want more money and how many of you want more sex?" And immediately he got their attention. He said, "I'm not going to teach you how to get more sex, but I got your attention." So basically he is telling them, "You are all fools and rascals, and I cheated you." The conclusion is that as human beings, we are meant not simply for solving economic problems on a tottering platform, but for solving all the problems of the material life into which we have been placed by the laws of nature. So now I'm getting curious, because you asked this about Atmaha. So I'm going to research in the database and see if there is in any other place that Srila Prabhupada explains, because he also gave classes on Ishopanishad. He gave classes, so maybe there he explains what is exactly this. And maybe somebody also asked him this question, so how can soul be killed? But it's more like a metaphor, because the consciousness of the soul, you are killing the capacity of the soul to be happy and to understand, to have understanding, to have like spiritual knowledge, you're becoming covered. So killing of the soul basically means that the soul becomes covered with material energy and loses its original capacity to be happy, eternal, and full of knowledge. But we will take a look at this. And today we had a little conversation with Bhakti Sebastian about individuality, and he will do some research. So I think one of our sessions will be about this, also about our individuality, false individuality and real individuality. And Mother Devaki has wrote a whole book about false ego. I haven't read it yet, but I'm sure she did good research about this topic. So I don't know if you have it in the library, in German or in English you have.
In the temple.
About the false ego. You have, okay. So if any of you is interested, you can also read that book. Maybe you get more insights. So okay, now the rest of our time is 6 minutes. If you have any questions in relation to what we were discussing today.
So, if we self-realize and come to the conclusion, oh yeah, there's a soul, and we're the eternal soul.
We are what?
We are the eternal soul.
Okay.
Or, I mean, self-realization is many folds, right? There are many stages, I guess. But it doesn't mean that you have to progress on it. If you realize it, but then you don't do any progress, are you also Atmana?
No, if you realize it, you will make progress. If you realize something, that means you have made progress.
And then you're like, oh, I've realized something. Now I can stay like this. I don't have to realize.
You didn't realize, you have only understood. That's not the same. You have understood something. If you realize it, then you don't. By realization, you get wisdom. It's a deeper knowledge.
Like
It's-
experience.
Yeah, through experience. So if you experience it, then you can make a decision, because if it has taste for you, not. But is it pleasurable? Do you like it? Once Srila Prabhupada asked devotees, why do you chant Hare Krishna? And then they said, oh, because it's, Krishna is God, or because I will go to hell if I don't, or because
you said us, not
because
because you
you told us that we should follow your instructions, and many different reasons. And one devotee said, oh, because I like it. And Prabhupada said, yes. And this morning we spoke about param drishva nivartate, higher taste. So important part of realization is actually to have a taste, to find pleasure in spiritual practice, in spiritual